Well, good afternoon, everyone. Chris Thorne with Higher Military. Glad to be here with you again to have another great conversation on a Thursday about your transition success, working with employers and programs that are really out here to help set you up. And today, I am honored to be joined by an amazing partner with Higher Military, but really an amazing company, and that's the team from GlaxoSmithKline. So, gentlemen, thank you all for joining me here today. I really appreciate this opportunity. So I'm going to go around to a really quick introduction, let everyone sort of tell you a little bit about themselves. But I'm joined by Michael Dubia, Marcus Harris, Herman, Sykes, Scott Chessman, and Frank Rauch, all from the GSK team. Gentlemen, thank you. Michael, let's go ahead and start with you. I'd love to hear a little bit about you and your background.
Yeah, thank you very much. So my name's Michael Dubia. First, I'd love to just make sure that I say thank you very much to all of you out there serving our great nation. I appreciate your service. I've been fortunate to be with GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals for roughly 21 years in a number of different roles, and for the majority of the time in leadership roles, and have had the pleasure of having some fantastic team members that have served on my teams. And there's such a great benefit to our organization for focusing on identifying opportunities for the servicemen and women that are transitioning to join GSK. I myself have not served. I'm an Army brat. My father served for 37 years. One of the things that I've done, though, is to ensure that I've taken on an opportunity in leading our Veterans, Families, and Friends Employee Resource Group, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. But in the meantime, we'll transition over to our other great colleagues.
Well, I appreciate that. And first of all, one thing I'll share, it's interesting. You mentioned that you didn't serve, but that you are an Army family member. And I got to tell you something that we always say, because certainly we love the military family, is that we recognize that everyone in the military family serves in one way or another. And it's just usually the person in uniform who gets the thanks for it. So thank you for being part of the military family. So let's go ahead and go around the Marcus. Tell us a little bit about yourself there. I'd love to hear a little bit more about you.
All right, so I'm Marcus Harris. I am going into my 26th year with GSK. Started right after high school, and I've definitely had the chance to grow with GSK. Took advantage of some of the continuous education programs that they have had to offer through time. I started as a production operator. Way back, fresh out of high school. And from there, I excelled to become a press operator and went to school to learn the basics of hydraulics, pneumatics, and a few courses, and became a maintenance mechanic. I was able to excel as a maintenance mechanic to become a lead mechanic over a crew of technicians. From there, our company actually started a pretty significant project. We made equipment that was, we made product on equipment that was like 40, 50 years old, that was made in the 30s. So we bought everything up to date, and I went into continuous improvement to help with the design, the implementation, and was part of a $75 million project. I stayed in that role until the project was completed, and from there I moved on to become a capability lead, which I wore many hats. In recruitment, which I've hired from the military as well, and schools, and help people with career development in the capability role. From there, I went on to become a facilities lead, and that was all in consumer healthcare. So last year I moved over to BioPharm in Rockville. I feel like it's the future of medicine, and I think it's a lot of opportunity and a lot of growth in the BioPharm world.
Awesome. Really glad to have you here. Thank you. That's an amazing. First of all, you look entirely too young for all that career history out there. So I'm just sharing that with you right now. But Herman, I got to hear from I can't help it. I got my proud sailor in me here. So Herman, we'd love to hear a little bit about you.
Yes, and I'm sure at the end you will not say that I look too young for all this experience.
I was thinking the same thing about me.
So I was in the Navy for 11 years, mainly in the engineering space, worked in engine rooms, worked on an aircraft carrier at first and on a destroyer. Upon separating from the Navy, my sister clued me into a job opportunity at what was then Human Genome Sciences. So I applied, I got accepted. I started at Human Genome Sciences as a facility technician 1. So from there, I was able to progress all the way up to facility manager. And about 2012, GSK bought Human Genome Sciences. So transitioned over to GSK. Since then, have progressed to now I am the Facilities Associate Director. So it's been a great experience, GSK, great company, tons of opportunity, tons of learning to be had, right? Training opportunities are always there. The money's always in the budget for training. So just a great place to work. Always have the patient at the end of the line in focus, right? So GSK, just love the company, enjoy working here.
Awesome. And always happy to have a Navy brother and love hearing about that kind of a successful transition into where you're at now. So thanks. I appreciate it. And I still think you look pretty darn young, just personally, but that's me. So
thank you.
Frank,
Go
how
Navy,
you doing
beat
today?
Army.
There you go. Yeah.
Easy there, Herman. That's twice now. So, unlike my Navy brethren here, I spent 11 years in the Army. Most of that time was with 10th Special Forces Group out of Fort Carson. Great experience. And GSK, was really there for me in that transitional time when I was leaving the military. At the time, they had a program called the Veterans Leadership Program. I was lucky enough to be a recipient of that program and be brought into GSK at Upper Merion, that's Philadelphia Biopharmaceuticals. And now I'm in one of Herman's former positions at that site. I'm the facilities manager. I couldn't be happier. It's a great team, and really, I think that's been the biggest part for me is when I left the military, what I was lacking was that camaraderie that I had with the guys on the team. And I found that at GSK. So I was able to develop that team and spearhead it. And, it's really been great.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. And, we love our Army brothers. It's just, we got to keep that going forever. It's just got to always happen there, right? But I didn't want to leave out. Of course, we've got Scott still down here. Scott, we'd love to hear a little bit about you here.
Sure. My name is Scott Chessman. I have not served in the military. My connection to the military is through my older brother. He is in the Navy. He's currently an admiral and the commander of Carrier Strike Group 10 at the moment. I also have several members of my team at Upper Merion, same facility that Frank works at, that have served in the Navy as well. So I'm in my 30th year in the pharmaceutical industry, approaching 7 years with GSK. I started out with 23 years at Merck in small molecule development, tech transfer, scale up, and factory demonstration. Educated as a chemical engineer. I moved to the GSK facility in Upper Merion in 2017. Where I am the process engineering manager in the same NJOPS department as Frank. And I have a team of approximately 20 people, split basically down the middle as process engineers and process mechanics. And just a plug for Upper Merion, very, very busy site, very much in the action. I agree with one of the other statements where I think biopharm is where it's all out right now. We manufacture Nucala, which is an asthma drug. It's $1 billion seller for the company, which is, for all intents and purposes, considered a blockbuster drug in the industry. And our facilities are expanding quite significantly over the last several years for new product introductions. We did one last year. We'll be doing 2 introductions this year and several more throughout our oncology profile in the years to come. Very dynamic, very exciting, a lot of relationships to build at site, and a place that you can be very successful.
Wow. Okay. So there's an awful lot going on at GSK, and I'm excited because I know we're going to be talking about some of the opportunities specific for DoD Skill Bridge and veterans and careers. But, Michael, why don't I wrap back around to you? Probably a great opportunity to get some insight from you about really what GSK is as a company and a culture and sort of where the values of the organization come from and what that means to veterans and military families.
Yeah, thanks. So I think what I'll take just a couple minutes to highlight who we are and areas of focus. GSK, or GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals, is one of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies in the world. We employ greater than 99,000 people in over 95 countries. We have a network of 86 manufacturing sites servicing our patients and consumers in over 150 countries. Our areas of focus in pharmaceuticals, vaccines, and consumer healthcare. From a pharmaceuticals aspect, we have a broad portfolio of innovative and established medicines that focus on developing new medicines in respiratory, HIV, oncology, and immunoinflammation, with an R&D approach focused on science related to the immune system and use of genetics and advanced technologies. On the vaccines front, we offer the world's broadest vaccines portfolio, and our vaccines business is one of the largest in the world. We research and make vaccines that help prevent illnesses like meningitis, malaria, and measles. And on the consumer healthcare front, we offer one of the world's largest over-the-counter medicines companies. We develop and market famous oral health, pain relief, respiratory, and skin health brands. So a diverse area. I think when we think about the culture, a fantastic culture here at GSK across all of our different footprints. One area that I'd like to highlight on is our focus on our veterans, families, and friends. Like I shared earlier, I lead our Veterans, Families, and Friends Employee Resource Group, one of many employee resource groups, where our vision of the VFF is to aid in making GSK the employer of choice for veterans, reservists, and guardmen, while creating a GSK community that celebrates the camaraderie of diversity and professional leadership capabilities of the armed forces. Our mission as a VFF ERG is to foster a supportive global work environment that attracts, recruits, and retains. What we're doing right now here on this call, really focusing in on that attract and recruit aspect. Retention, I think you heard from the fantastic careers that my colleagues and peers have here on the line, the incredible service that they've had. There's a fantastic retention focus. Additionally, providing a career development network and ultimately helping to solve the challenges of the GSK veteran community. There's many opportunities, and I think that's just a little bit of a background to highlight a little bit about GSK, and then our focus on the VFF ERG. And I think we'll hear a lot more great specifics for the opportunities there are at the local sites. So thanks for the opportunity to share that.
I really appreciate that. You know, when you talk about that, Michael, I think some of the things that come through to me, obviously, culture is such an important element to finding a good fit, not just in a job, but in a career. And that's not unique to military transitions, but I think that's very applicable to our transitioning service members when they're looking for that right fit for where they belong, where they contribute, and where they can be part of something important following their military service. And so all those things you talked about, obviously, are hugely important in the world we have today, but even without the current environment of the COVID and others, just really making the world truly a better place. And you hit on another point, and I don't mean to drag on here, but you know, the average incumbency of a job in the US right now is, I think, 2.3 years that people stay at a current place. So when I see you and I see Scott and I see Marcus and Herman and Frank and all these people who have just amazingly long careers with one company, that tells me so much about that company, the opportunities and the culture. And I appreciate that. I think that's amazing. So
absolutely, that retention is a key aspect, but I think our focus, the focus today on that attract and recruit aspect.
And let's get you some new ones. So this is probably a great time, to start talking about really what some of those opportunities. Now, GSK, we're proud at Higher Military to have GSK as a partner in DoD SkillBridge to create opportunities for pre-transition training with industry before service members leave the military. And so we've got some great opportunities with the team today, specifically in Pennsylvania and in Maryland. And so I'm going to let Scott jump in there and lead the conversation on sort of what some of those opportunities look like.
So I'll just say flat out that we currently have a requisition open for my team for a process mechanic. within the facility. A successful candidate, for that role to be part of an overall team of about 20 and an overall team of about 8 process mechanics. Day to day, that person is responsible with the team to help ensure that all the equipment that we use in the facility is operational in the air, so to speak, to be able to produce bulk drug substance for Nucala and any of the new drug products that that are coming in for for startup campaigns. And whether it's preventative maintenance, corrective maintenance, you're part of a team that has to keep the facility running on a 24/7 basis, 365 days a year, type of activity. There are plenty of opportunities to individually contribute. The building does depend on everybody being able to add value as an individual, but in addition to be a very, very hardworking team member and to develop those professional and trusting relationships that will pave your success throughout the entirety of your career. So again, we have an opportunity open right now, and you should be able to see that on LinkedIn very shortly. Very dynamic environment, and we're looking for people with quick learning agilities and just the desire to contribute, self-motivated, and to work hard and to understand that they'll be a part of a team that shares common success.
Awesome. So, in that conversation you mentioned, one of the things I think Michael obviously gave a great introduction as far as what GSK is and what the global brand and product really supports and does. But a lot of service members might think, wow, that's pretty high level. Like, do I need to be, a scientific engineer? Do I need to be a molecular biologist? This is what you just talked about. Sounds like some opportunities really for folks who just are ready to do some really good hard work in a stable industry that's got a great future.
Yeah, hard work, be responsible, come to work, be dressed and ready. I have 3 people on my mechanics team right now that have come from the Navy. So they were prepared to contribute coming directly from the Navy. So we've seen it done before. It's partly why we're here today.
That's spectacular. So I'm going to bring in a question. Gentlemen, you might not know it, but Crystal is actually one of our great supporters with Higher Military and Opportunity, and she's often got some great questions. So she asked, do you feel your company would like to recruit veterans because of the adaptive abilities and teamwork instilled? Is that important to you? So let's go ahead and throw that down, Frank, if you don't mind. I'd love for you to field that one.
Sure, I think absolutely. One of the intangibles that comes along with having military service is that ability to adapt and overcome. And so the leadership that you've gained by being a member of the United States military is equally as essential in the corporate sphere. And I think that, Scott hit it on it right. It's the hard right over the easy wrong. And it's doing what you're supposed to do with no one watching. And those things are just repeatedly instilled in you in the military. You take responsibility for your actions, you exercise initiative, you're resourceful, and these are all things that make for some of the best employees that you can get.
That's spectacular, and I love that. So, Herman, sort of maybe along that same lines, obviously, you had a great Navy background, and then you transitioned into a successful career that came from that. Now, I know you think that Navy background was a while ago, but do you find that there are elements of your military career that continue to contribute to your success in industry?
So absolutely, right? So GSK, the pharmaceutical, vaccines, consumer healthcare, that's all a highly regulated industry, right? So one of the things that the military, right, instills in you from the beginning, right, is ways of working, right? Doing things a certain way every time, right, so that you're not making mistakes. The same way the military has a red tag system for doing maintenance in our industry right now, you have a lotto system, lockout, tagout. Right. In the same way that you have SOPs for procedures in our industry now, you have the same thing in the military. So people that are in the military, they have exposure to that, they have experience with that, they're used to that regulated environment, right? Where you're doing the same thing the same way every single time, making sure that you're doing it safely and the right way. So that's one aspect of the military that you guys are getting right off the bat.
That's awesome. So it is that attention to detail, the ability to take charge of a project, follow through, and see success and completion without having to have somebody looking over your shoulder the whole time. Those intangibles that you bring are really the success keys. And then GSK is going to help you learn those hard skills, the technical functional things that you need in that particular shop to be successful. Marcus, do you think that there are service members who could be watching right now and thinking, should I do DoD Skill Bridge and participate in this? Are they going to be successful if they don't have a scientific or life sciences background?
Absolutely, they will be successful. I feel there's many things in the military that converts directly over to what we do, especially in the facilities and maintenance roles, right? I feel the mechanical aptitude or mechanical knowledge that you gain, you definitely can translate that over to, like turning a wrench, or whether it's working on something in HVAC, whether you gain some boiler knowledge, diaphragms, reading PNIDs, reading electrical schematic. I mean, to me, all of that's a huge plus, if you could bring any of that to the table.
Absolutely spectacular. So, I'm taking a look right now on the Higher Military Board, and GSK currently has positions listed in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and Rockville, Maryland. Now, Rockville, Maryland, I know is pretty much in the Metro DC area on the north side of the Beltway up there. I've spent a little time around there. But where's King of Prussia, Pennsylvania?
Sure, Scott. I'll jump on that one, Scott. So it's immediately outside of Philadelphia, and it's a great area. There's plenty of like family-friendly activities in the area, good housing, great restaurants. So like the area itself is what you would expect out of any metropolitan area. And then we're kind of tucked away in a little area known as Upper Merion, and so that's right in between Bridgeport and Conshohocken. And yeah, Scott, I would say most of our folks probably commute in, probably about 45 minutes to an hour. But really, it gives you a lot of flexibility in where you can live. And
I think one thing to add, Frank, is the Philadelphia area for GSK is one of 2 worldwide hubs for GSK. And in the Philadelphia area, there are over 3,000 jobs that GSK has between the Upper Merion and Upper Providence sites. So your journey could potentially start in Upper Merion in the organizations that Frank and I are in, but there is plenty of future opportunity because there are over 3,000 jobs, GSK jobs in the area.
Sure, and we have the Navy Yard. We're very fortunate at our campus to have R&D right next door. And then even up towards where I currently live, there's a vaccine site. So there's a lot of opportunity throughout the area.
So, you hit on a great point there, and I'm glad you highlighted, we're King of Prussia and the Philadelphia area, great quality of life. So opportunity for folks to leave military service and live in a location that's, as the Northeast Corridor goes, that's pretty decent cost of living and quality of life involved in that area. But you hit on something else, and Herman, maybe you can talk to this. If I become part of the GSK team and I'm in Pennsylvania or I'm in Rockville and I spend a few years, is that the only place I'm going to work, or can I look at opportunities across the enterprise of GlaxoSmithKline globally? What are the opportunities to move around and really advance? Herman, if you don't mind.
I'll speak first, Herman, on that.
Okay. Come on, Marcus. Yeah.
So throughout my career, I started in Memphis, Tennessee at that site. I have worked in Aiken, South Carolina at that site for a brief period of time. I worked in Albany, New York for a short period. And there's, like I said, there's tons of opportunities to move around and to apply for jobs within, and always you can excel up and apply for the next level up as you gain experience.
I love it. What about you, Herman? Any thoughts on that one?
No, Marcus is right. I mean, the opportunities are endless, right? They have what they call within GSK a secondment, right? So if you identify a role that that you think you want to work in, right, you can go and work in that role if that secondment is open, right? And they will hold your position in your current role so that if you work in that secondment for a year and you figure it's not something for you, then you can go back to your role. But I mean, GSK is a worldwide company. Any opportunities that are out there, you are more than welcome to apply for. Nobody's going to hold you back from that. So, I mean, even if it's not in the States, right? Even if it's in Europe or Asia, right? They have sites across the world.
That's
I'd just like to add
one of the things that's amazing too, I think, is just how at GSK the focus on individual development, owning development, and then the support for your development from the leadership teams that really are here to help support individual aspirations and the ability to really keep an open mind on numerous different opportunities. I see it day in and day out with several of my team members that have served for some time and are with us now for greater than 20 plus years and have had made numerous moves. But the key is it's really owning that individual development and then GSK's commitment to supporting it.
So, Michael, if you don't mind, I'm going to stay with you for just a moment on this with Steve's question that came, because I think it's something a lot of military service members ask. Well, that military background, getting the foot in the door, but is that really a platform for springboard success to go even further? Or is that just sort of a start point?
No, I think I would say it's a fantastic opportunity in springboard. There's just because of the background and experience that our transitioning men and women have coming from the military, coming in here. We learn so much from them, and it's a fantastic springboard. But I think it goes back to, and as my colleagues on the line will say, it goes back to really truly owning your development and career path when you're here and really fostering that and driving it and excelling and being part of that fantastic team. So I hope that answers the question.
I think that's pretty darn spectacular, honestly. So, Frank, if you don't mind, Jeffrey Thompson asked maybe a little bit of a follow-on question. It's a good one to talk. Are there requirements beyond military experience? So, yeah, great. DoD skill bridge is an opportunity to get in the door, but obviously, there's some baseline requirements. So, what kind of candidates are you looking for a successful program?
Sure. And GSK, as is evident on this call and has been noted before, we have roles open across the spectrum. So we have everything from R&D to production manufacturing to our facility space. And so currently one of the roles that I have open is for instrumentation. So obviously I'm looking for someone that has, to be an instrument tech, I'm looking for someone that's familiar with calibrating machinery, whether it's, learning how to calibrate pressure gauges on a ship or whatever the case may be. I'm not as familiar with the Navy and working in the boiler rooms, but that's that type of knowledge that is going to transfer immediately into an instrumentation tech.
That's awesome. So Scott, Nathan had asked this, he's really excited to hear about these types of opportunities and the variety of work. I know we've got 4 positions that are currently posted, which we're actively looking for. But Scott, if somebody was watching today and they saw another opportunity in your facility that they thought might fit them and they had an opportunity for a window for SkillBridge, are they able to apply for that program, even though it's not one of the 4, or are you holding just to those 4 for right now?
So what I would say is don't be bashful to bring up those interests. And what we will do is put someone in contact with someone in our plant that is directly responsible for those roles, so a conversation can be had. And so the beginning of developing that relationship to make determinations whether there's a fit now or a fit in the future can really be just the start of getting yourself involved with GSK. So as long as someone is taking the initiative to ask about what they want and what they need, we will put them in contact with the right person. And that doesn't stop once you get at GSK. There are secondment roles, there are development days, there are, you think of what you may be interested, even though you're already a GSK employee, you can go job shadow somebody to see what your next move might be all about. So development is ongoing, and the energy you put into it will you will be repaid with opportunities based on your energy that you put into the potential opportunities.
That's spectacular, and that's I hope everyone is really paying attention, and make sure we'll scroll that banner again. Take a look at that GSK careers page, and if there's an opportunity to potentially connect for SkillBridge, hey, that's great. We'd love to, but this is a company that really values what you bring, so there's great opportunities for you to join. And one of the things that was question here, Daniel Perez had asked about having an MBA, and is that a need for getting into business when you're coming out of the military? And Marcus, I'd actually, if you don't mind, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And lots of service members have that question: how far does my education need to have advanced for me to be successful in joining a company like GSK? So MBA, too much, too little, right on track?
My initial response would be, I do not have an MBA. So yeah, so it's not needed, right? One of the things I like about GSK is something that for everybody working at GSK, that's embedded into your day-to-day work activities. You have one-on-one schedules with your boss. You have a career development plan that you get a mentor. GSK have in-house as well as external mentorships. There's tons of opportunity. So no, an MBA is not needed. It's a plus, but it's not a requirement.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, I honestly, I would love to keep you guys for probably about another 2 hours, because I think we could talk much longer, but I know we've sort of hit our time there. There's lots of great conversation going on. And if you're watching live now or watching later on, I hope that you'll connect with each one of our panel members on LinkedIn. If they've got a profile, we'll make sure to tag them in here and reach out, ask questions, and then talk with us. But I'm going to go ahead and throw it around the horn here for some wrap-up thoughts here before we head out for the day. So, Herman, anything else you want to share before we close out for the day?
Yeah, so one thing to think about when you're separating from the military, right? There are, like, for instance, the state of Maryland has certain licenses requirements that they want you to have for, say, operating a boiler, right? This is just one example. Now, if you're a chief getting out and you have some boiler training in your background, you can automatically apply for that license and take the test for that license. Typically, that license for a first grade engineer takes you 5 to 7 years to acquire, right? But because of your military background and your training, you can apply to take the test for that license and obtain that license. It's the same way for electricians, right? For the journeyman's license, right? So be sure you're looking into those things. Be sure you're taking advantage of that, and it'll make your transition much, much easier.
I appreciate that. That's a great shout out for getting those opportunities on the way. Frank, what about you? Any wrapping thoughts before we head out today?
I would say please take advantage of the DoD Skills Bridge and apply to one of the roles in Philadelphia. I'd love to see you soon. Outside of that, no, I couldn't be happier to be on the call. Thank you guys for your time. And I just want to re-echo one point about how important development is going to be. So when you come into GSK, you really do come to a team, and you come to a team that values, humans are more important than hardware, right? And GSK really spends a lot of time with their folks trying to get them to the next level. So I hope to see you here soon. Spectacular.
Thank you. Marcus, any parting thoughts from you?
I would just say definitely look into the jobs at the Rockville site. Seriously, we're just coming to an end of a 3-year project that we're planning to go live later this year. So we have a ton of openings and a lot of positions that are open at the moment.
Wonderful. All right. I can't help it. I love the Pennsylvania, Maryland competition going on here. Hopefully we're going to get just more candidates than either one of you can handle here. That's what I'm hoping for. But Scott, what about you? Any thoughts before we head out for the day here?
Yeah, probably a general thought, and just speaking to just have the confidence in your skill set that has made you successful in your current military career, and bring that to the interview. Behave and discuss and act like you want the job after you've applied. And all of that will be the start of, developing yourself in the correct behaviors, to start off on a new career.
Absolutely spectacular advice. I appreciate that. And, don't be afraid to reach out and build those networks. We all need those networks to reach out to. And so, Michael, we started with you, and I'm really glad to get to sort of finish off with you. Any parting thoughts on any of this conversation that you'd love to share?
Yeah, first, I again just want to, so everybody that is here observing and watching today, to thank you for your service, and best of luck on your transition. I'll tell you that I know that we at GSK benefit every day from our veterans' families that we have here supporting the great work we do, and welcome. If any of you have any questions, to please connect. I'd be more than happy to follow up on any additional questions you have. But the GSK family is committed, fully committed to supporting your development and your aspirations. And I think it's the folks that we have here, our colleagues on the line today, are a great example of that. So best of luck in your transition.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, I got to tell you, I really appreciate all of you coming and spending the time with us here today. I appreciate everyone who's joined us on this session and asked some great questions. Hopefully you've gotten some insights, whether you're watching us live today on LinkedIn or live on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to come join us on LinkedIn, or whether you're watching this later on, please reach out, connect, and engage. These gentlemen and the entire team at GSK are really committed to your success. And so thank you all for joining me. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for your commitment. And for you all out there, thank you for your time today. Stay safe, stay well. We look forward to seeing you again next week right here, Thursday, 1:00 p.m. Pacific, 4:00 p.m. Eastern, to talk about your transition success and opportunities. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe, stay well.